Leroy.
You too, you too. Absolutely, absolutely. It is an honor and a pleasure to meet you as well. Let me get the Facebook Live going on. We want to welcome everybody, everybody. It's moving. All right, so I'm gonna just do it to my timeline. Hopefully it'll do what it's supposed to do tonight. So come on. All right, well, while that's rolling, that'll bring us in. We're actually live because I'm actually recording it, so we're good. But I want to say good evening to everyone and thank everybody. We are coming to you this evening. It's your boy Leroy McKenzie Jr. coming to you tonight, and we have got a special treat for everyone because coming up this week is something that I'm a part of. I'm anxious to and excited to be a part of, but it's something that's new that I haven't seen before, but I'm excited to be a part of it. It's the National Christian Writers Conference, which I was a part of last year, but they added a little twist and a little tweak to it this year because it's not only it was 2 days, but it's actually 3 days. It's actually 3 days. That's the May 14th, which is this coming Thursday, Friday, May 15th, and then Saturday, May 16th. So you don't want to miss it. In a minute, we'll give you all of the information that you need in order to be able to go register for the event so that you can be a part of this, because this is one of those, what I call be in the room events. You must be in the room, even though it's going to be virtually. I know that all of us will be doing things virtually, but you'll be able to come into the room and meet some phenomenal people, such as the two gentlemen that I have here with me tonight, and they're going to be introducing themselves in just a minute. And we're going to be talking about all things the National Christian Writers Conference 2020 and what is in store for you all. So you all don't want to miss it. You want to be a part of this. So you can go, you'll be able to register for the event and be able to see in a few minutes what we're talking about, why you want to be there, because this is something that you want to be. If you're an aspiring author, if you are an author already and you want to hone those tools, those skills that you have, then you certainly want to be a part of this. So I want to welcome the two gentlemen that are here with me this evening. That's Mr. Antonio Crawford, who is the founder and creator of the National Christian Writers Conference, and Mr. Paul McFall, who is one of the co-authors, but is also going to be a part of the conference as well too. So, good evening, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
Very wonderful.
That's good. So let's start off by having you all introduce yourselves to everyone, and then just tell us a little bit about you all. Okay?
I'm
And
gonna
then
let
we'll
Paul
get
go
into the conference
first.
stuff.
Paul, you go first, my man.
Well, thank you very much. Well, my name is Paul McFall. Antonio and I go quite a ways back. He was the man at the church, and I was one of the pastors that helped out and a couple of the ministries there. And so since that time, we've written a book. I've been in the automobile business than I'd like to say, but through the automobile business, I've written a book, and Pastor Antonio helped me put that book together. And over the years, I started an organization called Christians Who Care Ministries, and Christians Who Care Ministries, knowing what I know in the automobile business, I was really able to take that, and we took automobile donations, and we turned those automobile donations into funds, which I have I've been able to fund other Christian ministries, small ministries, because I felt there was a need for the small ministries that had a calling of God on their lives, and they had just for example, an organization called Christian Mentors, and they mentored kids, and they were raising funds half the month, and half the month they were doing what they do. And so I was helping ministries like this with funds so they could minister full time. And I thought there was a bunch of missionaries and others that I've been able to help over the years, and do that through the automobile program. So that's my niche in the world, and it's really worked out pretty good because God has really moved through that organization to bring people to Christ, and that was one of my criteria to help the other ministries and missionaries that we were seeing a harvest of the souls, and so that's just a little bit about my background, and I've got another 3 hours I can tell you, but that's basically what I've been involved with at this point.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Mr.
All right, so
Mr.
I'm gonna do a shameless plug right here for Paul.
Oh, okay.
So this is a copy of his book, and it is
cool.
on Amazon.com. And when I first, I won't say first, but once I found out he had a book, I think it took about a year, Paul, maybe a year or two for us to get it in print.
It took a couple of years for us to get it. 15 years because I'm a slow writer. I don't type very fast.
And I was like, look, you're not going anywhere. I'm gonna stick with you until we get this thing in print. And we spent many a days going back and forth until finally we got it in print, and we're moving forward. And so that's why I'm here. I am, like you said, the founder of the National Christian Writers Conference, the co-founder of the Crawford Irby International Foundation, and kind of the brainchild behind this monstrosity 3-day event, right? And so, but actually my goal is to help people publish their voice. I've been doing it since 2006. And through the conference, both East Coast and West Coast, we've helped thousands of people publish their ideas in the Christian marketplace. And I just feel that this is what God has called me to do in terms of helping other people. So I enjoy it, and we're just going to take it to another level.
That's awesome. Now, can you talk a little bit about how you came up with the idea of wanting to do the National Christian Writers Conference? What prompted you to say, wow, here's a niche, or here's something that I think that there's a need for, and I'm going to create this platform for it to be able to exist?
Well, that's a good question. One of my mentors, the late Dan Pointer, he's a self-publishing guru, well known throughout the globe for self-publishing books. And he used to run the San Bernardino conference here in California. And so by sitting down and just getting a little mentorship from Dan, he kind of guided me on the right path. And so that began my journey. Many ups and downs, many wins, and so that's how I got into it. And every year I quit.
I'm not doing it no more. I'm done. Like, all right, Lord, I don't know what else you got for me, but we need to move on from this.
Yeah, man. And it seems like every time I give up, God just put that fire back in me to start over again, because there are people out there that really need our help in terms of publishing.
Well, Pastor Antonio is a little humble. He's a very brilliant guy, and one of the reasons that he's got what he has is because he's led by the Lord, but he's a very smart individual. He really was a great help in putting together the book that I have, and I just want to publicly thank you, Pastor Antonio. It's really helped to take me to the next level in many, many ways in my life. And what you're doing is just a very good thing, and I'm just very encouraged about what you're doing, and the conference that's coming up this week.
Absolutely. I mean, and you, Mr. Paul, you are correct. He is very humble, He's a very humble young man, and just is an awesome guy. And from when I met him last year at the conference that he did on the East Coast here, it's just been something that's been great. Him and his wife is just awesome people to be around. You count yourself lucky when you're able to be around people who are like-minded, who have a passion for some of the same things that you do, and want to see people progress and everything like that. And that's what I believe that he does. So let's start off by this, Antonio. Let's talk about the conference overall, the National Christian Writers Conference, and then you can tell everybody what it is and what it entails, and then we can go into each night, what's going to be happening each night, and then what people will gain from coming to and attending the conference coming up.
Okay, so thank you, Leroy. The conference itself is next week. I mean, this week, as you said, I'm gonna work my way backwards.
Okay.
Saturday is the one-day conference, and I position it as a one-day conference because people normally would travel on Sunday, so we would normally start that evening, which would be the meet and greet, and then that Saturday would be the full-day conference. A couple of people came up to me after my Orange County conference, which was about a day and a half as well, or 2 days, and they requested just for a one-day conference. And so I kind of brought that model to the National Christian Writers Conference. And what I try to do, there are 5 things that, and I learned this from my mentor, Dan, there are 5 things that a writer need to be successful in the self-publishing business. And I call it my 5M model. And so the first thing you need is a message, right? That resonate with people. And then after that, you need a method to get that message out. And once you have the method, and then the next thing is you have to have movement. And so that movement requires marketing. And then the 4th one is money. That's the sales piece. Books don't sell themselves. You have to have a strategy and a plan to sell them. And then the 5th and final one is monitoring. You have to have some type of statistic or analytical process to monitor what you're doing. You have to know what is working and what is not working. And so I position that within the conference on Saturday to give people a full effect of publishing. And like I said, I've been doing it for since 2006. And so if you remember last year on Friday night, it was mostly women. I think we had 1 or 2 men maybe speak on Friday. And so with that, I had an anthology. I have an anthology called the Think Pink Anthology that's been laying dormant. And I wanted to build a program around women empowerment. And so I finally got the right people around me and working with me. And I said, okay, well, let's do it now. Now it seems like the best time than ever. And so that Friday, I figured we'll just open the doors to the ladies and they can have Friday night. And originally, before COVID-19, I really wanted the men to pamper the women that night. Just do the decor and just appreciate them for who they are in terms of the literary market, and just let them have fun on that Friday night and do the conference that Saturday. And so this coming Thursday, I was working with Bishop Abraham Shanklin, and what's phenomenal is the 10 leaders that founded the network are all connected, and some of them in different area. Like yourself, you have a platform for leaders. Pastor Kevin has a platform for leaders. Bishop Shanklin has the Best Man Project. He has a platform for leaders. I have a chapbook that speaks about relationship. Pastor Ernest has a chapbook that's connected by relationship. And majority of us are bishops, overseers, pastors, or community leaders. So we all have some form, some type of platform that speaks to relationships and leadership. And so if you throw it all together, it comes out like the best lasagna you ever made.
And that's great, because what I think what that does is, like you said, it creates, and you and I talked just before we came on here, it provides something for everyone, because we'll talk a little bit about the next level leader book that's coming out. You had something that's for men on that the book launch, or those that will be a part of the book launch. But then you have something for the ladies on that Friday night, which I think is important as well, because, like you said, even though we may not be able to be physically in the room to pamper them and everything like that, it doesn't stop any of us from being, when we are in the, if for those that may be able to, or that are allowed, I should say, to be able to tune in. On Friday night, if they let us in, because you know they won't, they sometimes don't like to let us in the room. They'll bust all up in our room and everything.
We might have to hack in the Zoom just to get a glimpse.
I know, just to get a glimpse, right? Because they would do the same thing. They would do the same thing for us. They would hack in the room. Well, let me see what they talking about. That type of thing. And then the overall conference on Saturday, like you said, which I think is a culmination of bringing everybody kind of together and everything like that. So I think that's a nice, it's a nice mix. I think it gives people who wouldn't ordinarily be a part of something like this. It says, wow, this part is for me. There's something for everybody that's in there. So. So tell me again, or we can talk about. We'll get into the different nights. But how did you and Mr. Paul get connected? And then we'll take that and launch it into talking about what the next level, the book launch on Thursday night, what that is and everything.
Well, we're twin brothers.
I love it.
Hard to tell us apart,
It's hard to tell us apart. You see Paul, you see me,
Absolutely.
He's the smart
one. So as Paul mentioned, we serve in ministry. Actually, we started out at Heritage Christian Center with Bishop Leonard, and then later on Bishop Smith came in, and so I became the executive pastor, and Paul was one of the associate pastors on the pastoral board.
Okay.
So we served some time there, but we also are the same military fraternity. Paul is retired Navy, I'm retired Navy.
Okay.
You will see Carolyn, she's retired Navy. Jennifer's retired Navy. Cece is retired Navy. And so we got that Go Navy fraternal connection as well, which is awesome because, we could talk the same talk in what's called ship ahoy.
It's interesting too how we were we've been at the same base down in there. I was at the sub base for years down there, and we've had discussions about your place down there as well. So it's an interesting discovery.
Leroy, you see, I can't get him away from the water. He still got the water. He still got a picture of the water in the back of him.
You got the water in the background.
And so, we encourage each other, because we realize that this is a marathon and not a sprint. And there are days he call to check on me and say, hey man, how you doing? And vice versa. And so, he's my spiritual brother and a friend, and we're gonna continue to do what God has called us to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now I want this. Now this question is for both of you, and I'll start with you, Mr. Paul. What made you want to start writing?
Don't freeze up now, Paul. Well, when he comes back, I'll just take it until he comes back.
Okay.
I remember when I was in Japan, And in Japan, we listen to videos. Really,
Well, okay, okay.
The television. We watched videos. The television was in a foreign language, so I had a tape from T.D. Jakes that I was watching, and in the tape, Bishop Jakes said, "God will not bless a manuscript that's hidden under the bed." And even though it was on a videotape, I felt as if he was talking directly to me, right? And so, the Holy Spirit spoke to my heart, and that kind of put a fire under me to publish my first book.
Okay.
And so during that time, though, I really didn't have any mentors to help me along the way. The first book that I bought from Dan Pointer was his 6th edition. I mean, the self-publishing manual, which right now I think is about the 19th edition. Well, I had an earlier copy, which was his 6th edition. And I just used that as a guide to help me publish my first book. And then later on, I connected with him on the phone and kind of got a little mentorship from him. And so because I didn't have support and help during the early stages of publishing, I knew that later I would want to help others as well to get their voice out. And so needless to say, my first book, it wasn't that good, right?
Okay.
Because it was that first drive, it was that first car.
Okay.
But I learned many lessons from it, and so I fell in love with the process than I did more so with the product.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so I fell in love with the process of publishing. And I figured if I learned the process through lean manufacturing and process improvement, I can create my own system to teach others how to do it as well. And so God just kind of, and then another thing that God spoke to my heart, he said, listen, the written word can go just as far as the spoken word. And he gave me this example. He said that someone can be in Sleepy Hollow, Kentucky, reading your book, and it is what they would read before they decide to take their life, right? Wow. And so the way that he showed me, he said that they will read your book and decide not to commit suicide. And when they see you later in life, they will thank you because it's the last thing that they read. And so I kind of held on to that concept. And many years later, a young lady that was serving with me in the military, she was a single parent, and she was struggling to make rank, a promotion. And so she read my book, and then after she read it, she ended up getting a promotion. Wow. And when I was walking down the hall, and she almost attacked me. I was like, oh, okay, what did I do, right? What is this? But she's like, Chief, I read your book, and I'm so glad I did. It changed my life. I ended up getting promotion by reading it, and I really appreciate it. And just at that moment, I was reminded of that conversation that me and God had about Sleepy Hollow, Kentucky, how your words can impact people that you don't even know, And so many of us it hurts my heart to know that people are leaving the earth soon, sooner than later, and there are unspoken words that are buried with them. Right, and they haven't had a chance to really make an impact or live a legacy because their dreams are in the cemetery. And my thing, Leroy, is I don't want to go through life and not have my words spoken.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Because I exist, right? And once you understand who you are in Christ and know that you are more than piety or piousness, that God has pregnated you with purpose and promise, you don't settle for less, right? You don't settle for less. You do all you can to birth that that legacy, and really you're just giving God back what he has given to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, and last thing, and then, you know, I'll pass it on, is, can you imagine all the recipes from our grandparents that are not written?
Yeah.
You know, all the little tips and tools on how to survive in life. So right now you go to the hospital, they fill you up with chemicals. But back in grandma days, they didn't use all the medications that we have. They had household remedies. And, you
Right.
know, our heritage is not being passed on like it should be.
Right.
And so if you
Right.
put all that in a jar, I think you can understand why I work around the clock in
Mm-hmm.
doing what we do.
Yeah, and I mean, and you're so right about that, because I've often said that the gap between our grandparents and our parents was maybe like this.
Yeah.
Was maybe like this, and then when it came between us and our parents, it got like this,
Yes.
and then now it's gone from between us and our kids, and that gap has gotten so much wider. And a lot of the wisdom, a lot of the knowledge, a lot of the information that we were privy to because we had our grandparents and even our parents that poured into us, we've dropped the ball. I say our generation has dropped the ball in passing that on. Because like you said, we don't tell stories anymore.
Right.
We don't communicate anymore. We aren't writing down information, or like you said, recipes. We're not writing down the different aspects of our lives to give something for the generations that are going to come behind us to be able to be guided from. And we can. I mean, I don't know about you, but I can see it. I see it. Not. I see that gap getting wider, and I see it getting wider because of, I keep hearing the ding, but I don't see him coming in. But I don't. We can tell, or I can tell, or I see, because you see this generation, this now generation, this generation that's out here today. The things that they're missing, the subtleties, not being able to cook stuff from scratch, or not being able to be in the kitchen to cook. Everything is instant to them. Or like you said, just certain idiosyncrasies, those things that we know that were passed down to us because our grandparents took time to talk to us. And it didn't even necessarily have to be our grandparents. It could be any elder that was in our neighborhood. They took they took the time to talk to us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. And I blame us, like I said, this now what I call the now generation. Those of us that have not done that very same thing. We haven't done the same thing to be able to talk to the young kids and pour into them, and that's been seen. But I think this writers conference, the National Christian Writers Conference, gives us the opportunity to be able to leave the legacy of writing behind, because what we put in print lives forever. It lives forever. It can't be. It lives forever. These are words that we put to paper and that we've left. I'm gonna say this real quick, and then I'm gonna jump to Mr. Paul to have him talk about him getting into writing, and then we'll get into the launch, the book launch.
Okay.
But I watched Judge Lynn Toler. I don't know if you'll watch her. She has the show, the Divorce Court show. But she wrote this book called it's a letter to my daughter that I never had. She never had a daughter. She has 6 kids, 6 boys, but she never had a daughter. And she tells a story how she learned so many things from her, from her mother, her grandmother, that were passed down to her. And she didn't have a daughter to be able to pass that knowledge on to. So she said she would get the letters, and she would get everything, some things in the mail from all these young ladies, asking her for advice. So she said, well, what can I do to be able to pour into these young ladies who I don't necessarily know, but they are all my daughters that I did not have. So she wrote the book, And it's just about what she would have told her daughter had she had a daughter. And it's her just passing on that knowledge that she got from, from her grandmother, her mother, that's now passed on to other women who she, some of them she may have connected with, some of them she's never seen before, but they have her book to be able to learn from, to be able to be groomed from, some lessons and everything like that. So I thought that goes into what you were saying about passing that legacy on to others through a book, through the literary form. And when we do that, so when we have these books and the writing that we do, we're able to leave something that lives beyond us. So, I think that. So, Mr. Paul, tell us how you got into writing. He's still can't hear him. Oh my God! We lost him again.
Hey, maybe we should skip that question.
I know, right? It's something about that question.
That freeze up.
It's just not working.
It just freeze up.
But let's do this, Antonio. Let's talk about the next level leaders, the organization that you created, and then let's talk about the book launch that came out of that was birthed out of that.
Okay, so do you want to go to the slide, or do you just want
me to? Yep. Let's go to the slide. Right. Yep, we can go to the slide.
Let me see if I can do this. So share. All right. New file. All right, you're gonna have to guide me through this.
All right, did you click the share screen?
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me do it on Zoom. If not, you got to bring it up on your side.
Okay, all right. I see. Let me bring it up on my side.
Yeah, I see it.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah, I see it. Okay. Let me see where we at. Right here. All right. So can you see there?
Let's see. Hold on. I'm sorry.
All right.
Yes. Yep. I see it. Yep. It's there. Can you see it?
Right,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I see it.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So Here we go. All right. So next level leaders, and like I mentioned before, you, Pastor Kev, Bishop, and I believe Bishop PJ Edmond as well. I forgot about him. He has a platform for leaders also. And so it started out as an idea. Bishop Shanklin sent me this manuscript and said, hey, what do you think? And asked me to review it. Mm-hmm. And I thought about his platform, and I just knew, being a world traveler, that his platform was huge. Yeah. And I asked permission to run with the project, and he allowed me to establish the network. Okay. All right. And so on the screen right here, you can see that it started out just as a 33-page document, right? Mm-hmm. And the initial title was Overflow of Fish, right? And so I asked God to give me just 10 leaders to work with me, and I will do whatever I could to support and promote their platforms and the project. Excuse me, Leroy, I'm sorry. And so with that, it's like the next day, Pastor Kev called me. He said, Antonio, the Lord told me, whatever you need this year, I'm here for you. Wow. Blew me away.
Absolutely.
And I was like, by the way,
absolutely,
this is what you need. And listen, man, I cannot say enough about Pastor Kevin.
Yes, and absolutely.
And he's been there with me since the beginning, man. And like I mentioned to you before, and I'll move on, is anytime I needed something, he has always been there. Mm-hmm. And I'll leave everybody with this. Pastor Kevin taught me a long time ago, and he was just Minister Kevin then. He said, Antonio, there's a thin line between money and ministry.
Wow.
He said there's a thin line between money and ministry, and you got to decide which line you want to be on.
Wow.
And that has stayed with me for years. And so as building the conference, I make sure that I don't walk a thin line, that you know that my heart is in this for the ministry and not necessarily the money. Okay. And so out of those words, we formed the Next Level Leaders. And so I talked to Pastor Kevin, and he gave me your name and Bishop's name. And we reached out, and I talked to Bishop Shanklin, and he gave me a few people. And I talked to a few people like Paul and Overseer. And so initially we had 10 people, which were more than enough. And then as we drew near, we ended up with 10 founders.
Okay.
And so this is one of the covers. And so once I got the cover created, I put it on Facebook, and most people liked the red cover than they did the blue cover.
Gotcha.
Okay. And so that became our little lead for book covers. And this is one of the 3D graphics of it as well. And I like the blue.
Me too. I really like the blue too, because it stands out to me. That blue is that royal blue for some reason always stands out when it comes to book covers, or when it comes to like backgrounds or whatever. I just love the richness of it. It has a richness of it that comes through to me.
Yeah. And so what I did is I took the manuscript that Bishop Shanklin gave me, and we separated into into 10 chapters, right?
Okay.
And then each leader took a chapter, updated it, and wrote a reflection piece for it. And so this is the red cover with the description on the back cover right here. That's the blue cover with the description. Now this cover right here that you're looking at is the print version, and you know that it's the print version because it has the spine right here.
Correct.
And so we lead out with the digital version first, then we'll follow up with the print version, and then a couple of other informational products as we move to the right. Okay, and so we worked around the clock to get the manuscript edited and get it ready for Kindle. And so this is what the Kindle looks like when you go into the portal to do the work behind the scene. And one thing is that this is free, right? Yeah. It's free. And so it allows really any leader an avenue to publish information about their, like you said, like their brand. And this is what it looks like behind the scene when you load up the manuscript inside of the Kindle portal. Okay. And then this is a continue. And so right here is, we have, I think, about 2 people that are part of the network who have never published anything. Okay. Right. And so now pastors and preachers have become published authors. Right. And so that kind of helps us change the dynamics of the church. So now, we're just not ushers and deacons, the common names. We're becoming professional authors. And since I'm the publisher, you don't even have to consider yourself as a self-published author, because I published you, right? Absolutely. So now you're a published author.
You're a published author, absolutely.
Right. And so that's some of the brains behind it. And so this is how the cover looks inside of Kindle. And this is the print cover. The digital cover looks a little different. And as you see at the bottom, you have the barcode. It's a challenge to make sure all the format and stuff is right. But if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's my belief. And so for the book cover, what's important about here is, you go down and you set your price, and you see that the printing it came out to like 107 pages. And so we were able to join together and take a 33 page document, and now it's 107 pages. And the printing for that is $2.15. So for every book sold, right, the royalties would be $3.83. And a lot of this, Leroy, I will break out more at the conference.
Absolutely.
And one of the reasons I wanted to go behind the scenes is the last year a few people left as if when they left on their surveys, they replied that it was a great conference, but they didn't feel that it was enough information about actually publishing the book.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to take some people behind the scenes and just show them how we did the Next Level Leaders book, or either the chap book that I just published as well. So we're actually launching 2 books this week, right? And so this, you know, and like I say, I'm in love with the process. I'm not in love with the funds. And I say that because this concept has now replaced the bookstore in the church.
Absolutely.
Right? Mm-hmm. So instead of running your bookstore there, you can run it online now, or virtually, right? And raise revenue. You can do a book launch around a Bible study series and help do a fundraiser to fund your charity. You know?
Yeah, and that's what and I don't know if you all are familiar. I'm quite sure you all are with the what is it, the 33 series.
No, I've never heard of it.
Oh, check it. Yeah, check it out.
Okay.
It is it's a series that a group of, and I believe that they are pastors, but speakers from the church, but they put together a series that deals with manhood, and and it had to do with I want to say the number of years that Jesus lived on earth, which was 33, or it had to do with the number of years of his ministry, which is the 30 years. It was some kind of combination. That's where I think the 33 came from. But it focuses on that their series was created out of that for the church. It was created specifically for men in the church. So you're absolutely right about creating those things that are directly for the church. And can come for the members of the church and everything like that. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm gonna breeze through here real quick so we can get to Paul. All right. And so this is my author central page. Mm-hmm. And what Amazon does is it offers every author a free website. Mm-hmm. And it's free, right? And so for all the projects that I've worked on, and as you see, I was part of Chicken Soup for the African American Soul as well. And so I was able to add those covers to my central page to build my portfolio, right?
Right.
And so as you see that, hey, I'm on Zoom.
Don't you love live?
I know, right?
Live, man. You know, I'm glad I'm not pitching $1 million project, man.
That commercial on TV.
That's all right.
And so these are some of the projects, right? And so what I liked about it is the Next Level Leaders. You see Bishop right here down at the bottom, where the arrow is. It allows us to connect. Right.
Okay.
And the internet works by algorithms and relevancy, right? And so it picks up on your information based on your relevancy. So I have become relevant because you are relevant. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Right. And so now that Paul has written a book and I'm a part of that, when people go look up Paul, my information is there as well.
Comes up as well. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And so now we have taken one idea and times it times 10. And so we have been supersized by 10. Okay. Absolutely. And so that's the power of the internet. And that's just one document, right? That's just the ebook. Right. So imagine if we expand that to audio and other series. So now you own more virtual territory on the internet. And today, more people are searching for church information online. Mm-hmm. So if if they are visiting online through the search engine to find information, the more we dominate and own property in the virtual network, the better our chances are of them hooking up with our message. Okay?
Absolutely. And that is so true.
And so this is a second part of that. This is the training topic guide, the lesson topic guide I created. So we started out with a 33-word document. We got a ebook, working on the paperback book, and now we have a training topic guide for small groups. And so now we're gonna start building small groups, and you're able to take that topic guide and work with a small group just on the subject that we created. All right. And so now we're gonna meet the next level leaders, and so that's Bishop, right? He's like the overseer for me. That's Pastor Ingrid, and that's Bishop P.J. Edmond. That's Pastor Kev, Overseer Fitzu. I don't know who that guy is. The lost soul, and he needs Jesus. And that's Paul, and that's Pastor Mia. And we miss my wife as well. So we have my wife, Pastor Ingrid, and Pastor Maya on it as well. And this is the Next Level Leaders Facebook group right here. And so we're connected to 10 founders down here. And as the week continues, after Thursday, we'll start populating the Facebook group and then start putting training and other things a part of the group, right? And so my goal is to get the next 10 leaders on board. And so that's one of the things, one of the book covers. Now, so if we can take a 33-word document and turn it into a brand image to help leaders impact the world, how much more can the people sitting in our congregations transform a Bible study series into an ebook or online course? And so I believe this firm to, like you said, with the 33 series for men, we cannot settle for just going to church, shouting, and just going home. I believe that there is more to us as a people who are called out as Christians, who are called out in the faith to do more. And so church as we know has changed. And I think it's time for leaders, for us to come together and shift our paradigms and how we see church, man, and how we develop people. I just think that there's more that we can accomplish. So that's it, man. I'm gonna stop the share and turn it back over to you. Thank you for the time.
No, and I think that's great. That really quick before I go to Mr. Paul, tell us what you want the readers that will purchase the Next Level book. What do you want them to come away with? Somebody that once they close that book and they've read that last page, what's the message that you want them to come away with, or the call to action that you want them to come away with too?
Well, so there's two questions. One, the call to action, and that's join the network, right? Come be a part of who we are and where we're going. And then the second part is you're not alone, right? You're not alone in this. Leroy has a tremendous amount of experience, and it doesn't, you're not charging $5,000-$6,000, right? For that. I mean, your information and your education is worth that, but I never see you come out and say, "Hey, get my package. It's $90,000," right? And the information is just as valuable. Okay. And so come join us, learn, and grow with us and build that legacy.
I like that. Now, Mr. Paul, I want you to talk about being a part of this experience and what it's meant for you. And then if you can talk a little bit about your project that you have out there as well.
Sure, as long as my internet stays up, it's
I know, right?
Today, for whatever reason.
You notice I rephrased the question. I didn't want to ask you because I didn't want to go back out again.
I just went in the other room and says, "Anybody else that's on the internet, get off." So hopefully we'll stay up. Well, I can say this. The Lord's really been speaking to me, through these days of the pandemic thing going on here, about these days that we're in, and I believe that He's really bringing leaders together, Christian leaders together, and in these days to bring in the harvest, he was just really speaking to me yesterday about how important it is, the work that we're doing right now, um, and the bringing together on the internet here. The Zoom thing is I'm sure it's been around a while, but I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard about it. And this is this is really a way for people to get their message out, and it's it's a great way with the interconnection that Antonio was talking about, to be able to take up more space on the internet and get our word out there and our message out there. And it's just, Lord just couldn't make it any clearer to me how very important what we're doing in these days, how very important it is, and how very important each and every one of us is to the mission that's going on right now. And I, even though Pastor Antonio wants to quit every year, this year is a pivot point here for this, because I really believe that through what's happening here, that we're going to have lemonade out of these lemons, and the word is gonna the organization and the word is gonna get out even better than it has in the past years, and I really feel that. And as far as what I'm doing now, I think everyone has an anointing and a calling for what they do, and I've been able to take the automobile business and early on, I used to go to people's houses and buy their cars, and I really had a ministry going there, because I could go there to buy their car, but I had several opportunities that God gave me to share with people, and there's a wake behind me of individuals who were exposed to the gospel as a result of me coming to buy their car. And I think a lot of people that may not know of a subject they could write on, but that, like with me, I took my profession, and I was able to, God, I truly believe it was a divine appointment for Pastor Antonio and I to get together for me to get this out. And my next step is to I have a couple more books in me to write, and my next step is to use the internet to educate people about my profession. And I have a door to bring them in as far as our business goes, but there's another door that the people that come in to see the automobile business, there's another door of opportunity to be exposed to the things of God, and the people that do come onto my website, and the people that do hook up with me as far as the automobile business, they're going to have this opportunity to be exposed to God, and I'm really excited about it, because the Lord has really spoken to me, and I would just really encourage anybody who thinks they have a book in them, just really consider attending the conference, and it's really helped me the times that I've spent just sitting under Antonio and learning what he teaches. And he's got another book there that it's really a good book that really gave me a lot of.
And so
we can get together and do what God has called us to do, and I'm excited about it.
That's awesome, and that's cool. Now, can I actually and I want to ask both of you this. What are your expectations coming from the Christian Writers Conference? What do you want people to come away with? And then Antonio, let's have you just talk about the 2 nights, the Friday night and Saturday night for women, and then talk about some of the speakers that are going to be at both of those and what people will be gaining from that. And then we'll end it on that, because I will be respectful of you all's time.
Oh, you go first, my man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
to get my thought together. Here. Well,
Okay.
well, yeah, attending the conference and being able to listen to the different speakers, I think it's very good to be able to hear the points of view and hear the perspectives that people have on leadership. And it's if you have that inclining to write the book, it's very important to be able to sit in front of people who have done it and have been down the path, and it'll accelerate your ability to be able to move forward and get the word out that God has for you to put out. And so I can say if you attend this conference with expectation, I guarantee you at the end of it, you're going to walk out fulfilled, and you're going to walk out with knowledge that you're going to have knowledge to be able to walk into what God has called you into in a better light and with more influence and more knowledge.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so for me, if I could jump in, Leroy, if you would have stopped and said, "Hey, Antonio, what's your expectation?" I would have said retirement, brother.
You're quitting again this year.
Yeah, man. Just go lay down and put my feet up, and not have to worry about anything. But I just, number one, to launch the networks, and have that firm foundation so we can continue as a team for all 3 days, the next level leaders. I really want that. I really would like to just focus on the leaders, and we're able to help other leaders with that. And then Friday night is the women's forum, the women's event. And so we have Carolyn Owens, who's a retired Navy commander. She's going to be there. She's going to moderate. And she teaches on Saturday too about blogging. And we have Jennifer, who is a domestic violence advocate. So she has a strong message. We have a young lady who's going to be there, Cheryl from Radio 1, who is in the process of writing her book called Suddenly, which is a phenomenal story of how she had to pray her son through his I think it's his kidney or something that was failing. And so he was fighting for his life, and suddenly a miracle came, and he's okay now. And we also have Pastor Ingrid that's going to be there talking about her book as well. And later on that night, we have a young lady. She's going to be there as well. She's a former Navy corpsman. And so Friday for the women should be a lot of fun, let's say the least. And I wish I could be a fly on the wall just to see how much fun they're going to have, because once they get started, man,
I know, right? For real.
Over.
That is so
and
true.
So Saturday, the conference is for writers, authors, and speakers. It's one of the few conferences that focus on all three, right? And so we definitely want to launch a book series out of the conference. And so I'll be working with the speakers to do an anthology of some type. And definitely we want people to come and participate. And I want to know what we can do to help them publish their books. And like you say, so many people need that branding touch, man, because when I ask for pictures, when the media asks for pictures, your media kit has to be ready.
Absolutely.
Has to be ready. And you can't.
They will not wait.
No, they'll move on to the next topic, right? Because the
absolutely.
news has a cycle. And don't send me any pictures of you in the backyard, chasing the puppy. That's not going to work. So that's not going to work, man. And so they need that touch from you, and we need to get that polish, that area of polishment from you. And we definitely, Kevin is one of the best grassroots marketer that I've seen.
Yeah.
And you want to get that from him. And so when it comes to the conference, I want people to understand that 5-tier model and connect with the speakers, because the conference is not about Antonio. It's about the community, right? And we are a community, and we're all working together to help people publish their books.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I want those that will be viewing this and to understand that this conference, and I've always said this: you only get out of something what you want to put into it. So if you come in there with the mindset of I want to grow from this, I want to be better, and this is always my aim when I do speaking presentations or do conferences and stuff like that, or even just an encounter with someone. I want that encounter to make that person better after they have the encounter with me than they were before they had the encounter with me, because that's what Jesus did. Everyone that he encountered, they were better after they met him than they were before they met him. So that became one of the things that I enjoy doing. How can people register? Let's give them all of that information, how they can register for the conference, what they need to do to be a part of the Next Leaders Leadership Facebook page, all of that information that they need in order to be able to let's get them registered and get them signed up, and then also part of the leadership core, because that's what it's about. It's about grooming leaders to be leaders, which I think is huge. Because
we were having, Leroy, we're having so much fun, man. We forgot to collect offering.
Exactly.
Pastor Paul, we forgot to pass the plate around, man. So I didn't mean to cut you off, baby.
Not at all.
That joke was stirring, it was stirring. And so, as you were saying, man, everyone can go to the National Christian Writers website, which is ncwcfr.org. Do not use www. Just use the URL, ncwcfr.org, and go to the National Christian Writers. I'm sorry, with my eyes closed. I'm just thinking. Because I'm a visual person, and so I talk and speak through pictures. Go to the Facebook page and get connected. There's a lot of promotional material out there that has links. If nothing else, go to Leroy's page, and he has information on his Facebook page as well that'll connect you to the conference.
Absolutely, because we want people to come, those who are writers, those who are leaders, so that you can get the tools that you can get in order to be able to be who it is that you want to be. And I look at it like this, and I tell this story. I call it this being the pitcher in the glass, because you know how when you go to a restaurant and you sit down and they have the glass at each place setting, and you sit down and they bring the big pitcher of water, big pitcher of tea, lemonade, soda, whatever it is that they bring, and the pitcher the pitcher is used to fill up all of the glasses at the table. But it's sometimes, and I say this, sometimes we're the pitcher where we pour into people, and then sometimes we're the glass and we get poured into, and we have to understand which part we play. So, and like this, we may get both, where we're part of the pouring in because we're presenters at the writers conference, or you're all part of the book launch and everything so we get to pour into people, but then we actually get to see the other presenters and the things that they bring, and we get to learn something from them, and we get to sit back and be the glass and get filled up and take what we've gained and pour that into other people, where we become the pitcher again to pour into other people that knowledge, that information, those resources that we bring in. So come being the glass to get filled up, and so that you can then become the pitcher to be able to pour into others. And I think if people come with that mindset, that mind frame, I think they will get a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information, a wealth of resources that will make them better. Not only make them better, but make them better as leaders, but make those that they lead better people and prepare them to be leaders as well, because that's what we should be doing. So I thank you, gentlemen, for taking time out of you all's day to come with me and talk and to tell everyone about the National Christian Writers Conference that's coming up, the book launch, the Women's Forum, all of those great things, the workshops that are going to be going on Saturday. What's the time frame for the ladies that want to be Friday, and then the conference time frame too?
Well, that's a good question. So one thing is You can attend all 3 events for $25. Okay, all 3 nights you can go to all 3 nights. So for Thursday night, we're going to open up the doors at 5:30. When I say the doors, I mean in Zoom. You're going to be a part of Zoom. We're going to open up at 5:30, do a little networking, and then we'll start the next level leaders at 6 o'clock. And it will go from 6 to 9. You'll hear from Bishop. You'll hear from Pastor Kev and the other bishop and overseer as well. And then you get an opportunity to meet all of the people that were part of the book project. And so Friday, we will start at 5:30 as well with a little networking. I almost call her Pastor Carolyn. But Carolyn Owen is going to be there. She's the virtual moderator, her and Tracy. And they're gonna just take it over from there. And you'll hear from the women. And I already mentioned who they are. And then we'll be back Saturday at 9 o'clock, I do believe. I think it's 10. And you can go to the website. The schedule is on the website, ncwcfr.org. The schedule is there to tell you all the information. And once you register, then we'll send you a link as soon as I get your information. Now, listen, if you reach out to the next 5 people that reach out to Leroy, I will pay for your scholarship to attend the event. So if you're a part of his network, just how do you want them to reach out to you, Leroy?
Well, they can connect with me through Messenger. They can email me at lj1369@hotmail.com, hotmail.com, and you can just put in the subject National Christian Writers Conference, and that way I'll know that's for that. And then I'll be able to give those names to Antonio and say, hey, here's the responses that I got, and then you'll get the notifications and everything from him.
So let's do this. The next 10 people that reaches out to you, not only would I pay for your scholarship to come, I will give you copies of the book once it's printed. How about that?
That sounds good. Sounds awesome.
Okay, awesome.
One other thing that day that we're expecting 1 million people or less to buy this book in one day, and I was just have you know that I don't know the date of that everybody's going to buy that book, and have you got a date on that?
Yeah,
everybody
Thursday.
Can buy it at the low price of whatever
Thursday.
It is.
Everybody
Thursday.
buy it at the same time on Thursday, and Pastor Kevin put out at 3 o'clock, I do believe. So, Leroy, if you don't mind, man, putting that up on your
I'll put it up right.
And so that way we'll all know what time to buy, and it's down at the lowest price possible. And once again, we're going to launch two books with an S, and bestseller status. And so that would be something remarkable if we can get that #1 spot.
I don't know how you could possibly sell it so cheap, but I know I'm going to buy one.
I appreciate it, man.
It's such a bargain. I tell you what.
Yeah. So
really good. Yeah, great. I want to make sure we get that out because that's a very important date to when we do launch the book to make that happen, because it's going to happen and it's going to be good.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Leroy, for your time, man. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me too.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you brothers. And this is like I told you, Antonio, this is something that I am wholeheartedly passionate about. I'm behind because I believe in it. And I look for anything that I'm a part of, it has to have these 3 elements. It must enlighten, empower, and impact. That means it must teach you something, it must equip you with something, and then it must impact you to want to do something. So this is one of those things. Writing is something that I'm passionate about. I love it. And I want those who come behind us, as we've talked about, to be able to have the tools that they need in order to be able to be the best writers that they can be. And then even when it gets into the leadership, because leadership is one of my passions too, is making sure that the leaders of tomorrow are equipped with the things that they need in order to be able to be the leaders that they're supposed to be. And they can't do that if us that are part of this now generation that I call aren't feeding them and not pouring into them that knowledge, the resources, and the information that we have, because somebody did it to us and did it for us. So we're responsible for doing the same thing. So I enjoy this. what I do, like I told you, this is being recorded. And I don't, for some reason, the live, it keeps spooling. So I don't know why it's not connecting, because it may have to do with a lot of people being online, because sometimes that happens. But I recorded it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload it. It's being uploaded to it'll upload once we finish here. And then I'll be able to put it onto my YouTube channel, but then I'll also send you the file, Mr. Paul. I'll send you the file as well, and we can actually we'll be able to send it out that way as well too. And
Awesome.
you can do that, okay? And you
All
can
right.
even, Antonio, you'll be able to put it on the YouTube channel too. You can put this on the YouTube channel as well, and this will be able to assist us with generally do that, getting the word out, making sure that we make the next level leader ebook book the number one, one of the Amazon's number one bestsellers on their bestsellers list. So we'll all be bestsellers on top of that.
That's what I'm talking about. All of us be best-selling authors,
be Amazon best-selling authors. Everybody that's a part of the project, it becomes a part of that. So,
hey, my daughter just gave me the sign by opening up the blinds.
She letting you know, hey.
Cut it out.
Your time's up, man.
I know, right? Gentlemen, I want to thank you all again, like I said, for taking time out of your day to be able to talk about this. We're going to have an awesome 3 days. We're going to have an awesome conference. It's going to be something that I know that is already God ordained. But it's also something that we know that is going to make people better afterwards, than after the conference than they were before the conference, and be enjoyable. And Antonio, I don't know if you're gonna be able to say no one more time, because that ain't up to you. So
hey, look, when I cry, just give me a handkerchief.
I know, right?
I tell Paul all the time, just tell me it's gonna be all right.
Right.
It's gonna be all right. I'll be all right. So
exactly. So
hey, but I'm gonna go, man. I gotta go and
absolutely,
take care of my daughter. So I appreciate it.
So we thank y'all for tuning in, and as I always say, this is 2020. I'm sorry, 2020. We move fast and furious, move with purpose and passion. And as I always say, chase the impact, because when you chase the impact, you change the world. And these are two men, along with the others, that are changing the world. And I'm proud to be associated with them and be a part of this great thing that they're going on. So we'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, man.
All right.
Take care.
All right.
God bless.
Very good. Bye-bye.
All right.
God bless.
All right.